Hello and welcome to AGT Time. I am Cody Mims, joined as always by the one, the only, the Cody, the Patterson.
I'm not sure why our insurance company lets us do this podcast. It's just way too dangerous.
Yeah, they try to keep us down, but we'll always be on the airwaves.
Yep, and they make us get tied to some sort of cable from the ceiling.
That's right. Pretty interesting week for us here at AGT Time. We are closing off Judges Cuts. Those are in the books, so we're going to be reviewing Judge Cuts 4 this week. And we also have some listener feedback, which I think will make for a good discussion later in the show. And this week we will also be doing a special bonus episode, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we're going to do an additional podcast tomorrow, and that's going to be a fantasy draft for the live shows. So look for a special podcast in your specific podcast catcher, podcast feed for a fantasy draft. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, me too. But first, let's get into Judge Cuts 4. What did you think of this episode?
I am so glad that we're finally done with Judge Cuts. As I was watching this episode, I was thinking this is a pretty good A- type episode. But then I went back and kind of reviewed the acts and looked back and said, who would I put through? What did I enjoy? And I revised my rating and gave it a C+.
Oh, okay. What did you, what made you feel like it was an A- at first?
I don't know. We just had some really good different type acts. We had some dancers. We had a few singers. We had some magicians. We had Nick Uhas doing his science stuff. We just had some good variety in here. But then as I was watching it, I thought this is actually pretty good. There's actually some decent stuff in here. But then I went back and just reviewed my list and reviewed my notes. And I'm like, it just wasn't that good.
Yeah, I was not feeling it through this whole episode. I felt like I was waiting for the boring beginning part of the show to be over during the entire run of performances. I did not feel good about this episode at all. And I would actually give this one a D.
Ooh, okay.
The performances were not. They gave me nothing. I seriously don't even know what I'm gonna say this episode because I was just bored by act after act, and then I felt like the results killed the few good acts that we had this time. So this one was no fun for me.
No, I'm with you after going back and revisiting my notes after watching the act. 'Cause I was enjoying it as I was watching it, but then after just kind of reflecting on it, and I was like, I took a lot of good notes and I made a lot of comments, but the quality wasn't very good.
Yeah. So let's get into it. We kick off the show with Arteon and Paige here to dance again. And I thought this was fun, but it had too many dull moments, and it didn't really come alive.
Now, this was just weird, is kind of what I'm putting on it, because they danced to the Dirty Dancing song, if you want to call it, the time of Our Lives. That's what they danced to, and it's got the famous lift that Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey do in the movie. And it was just weird to see these two kids do that type of dance to that type of song.
Yeah. So the whole thing just kind of creeped you out?
A little bit. I think I was enjoying it a little bit at the beginning, and then it really clicked with me. It was like, no, this is just weird. And I was anticipating them doing the lift. I was thinking, okay, are they actually going to do the lift where he lifts her up over his head? And they did. I mean, they pulled it off. The dancing was pretty good, but it was just weird to have them dance to this song.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear it's not a $1 million act, although the judges seem to think so.
Yeah. Now Howie didn't like it. Simon did, but I did make a note. Nobody puts Artyom and Paige in the corner.
I don't get this reference.
You don't get that reference. You
Is it
haven't
because
seen the
they're
movie?
young?
No, it's the famous line from the movie is nobody puts baby in the corner, because that's Jennifer Grey's character.
Mm-hmm.
Name is Baby. So anyway, those that have seen the movie out there amongst our listeners, they'll get that reference.
What is that? Breakfast Club?
No, it's Dirty Dancing.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right. This has been your youngster time with Cody Mims. So after that, we saw Britt Sawson, a singer who I thought didn't really sound that awesome. What about you?
I thought she was okay. I didn't recognize the song that she sang, but again, it was an abbreviated edit. And as we've talked in the past, that once you get an abbreviated edit, we know it's doomed for you, and you're not moving on to the next round.
Yeah. This was a nervous girl, right?
This was the nervous girl, yes. And Simon even mentioned that he didn't think that she was memorable, and then that kind of just got me to thinking, and people have been mentioning this all along about the sob stories and all the backstories and whatnot that we have on the people, and she doesn't really have one. She doesn't have any special characteristics. She's just an attractive young girl with a good voice that can sing, but she's got nothing spectacular, and he said that she is not memorable, that he will not remember her the next day.
Yeah, that was brutal, but I think true.
No, and there's a lot of acts we could talk about that just, they're good acts, but they don't have anything defining about them. But you still enjoy watching their performance. They may not be memorable at that moment, but I think as they move along and as they do well in the show because of their talent, then they do become memorable.
Yeah. So next we had In the Stairwell, which is, I think, the only act I like this time that actually went through. What did you think?
I wasn't big on them the first time around, and I'm really not big on them this time around. They sang Bye 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 by NSYNC, which is still kind of is a knock for me as well to sing, NSYNC type songs. I will give them this. They are talented, but I'm just not feeling it. I don't think they're $1 million act. I mentioned when they auditioned that I don't think the Air Force, because they're Air Force cadets, I don't think that they're going that the Air Force is going to allow them to be a Las Vegas act. And I think that Simon even talked about that in this episode, that in the audition they pretty much did this on a dare, and they were surprised when they got put through to the next round, because now they actually have to show up.
Yeah. I agree that I feel like I've had enough boy band music lately. It seems like we've gotten a lot of it on this show. But that being said, I think that they sold it, and I actually liked it. And that's all I can say.
Okay. And I will ask that if we have anybody out there in the military that is listening and they have kind of some feedback on this, of whether the Air Force, the military, is going to allow them to do a Vegas act, I would just be curious to know how that would work out. So if anybody out there is in the military and has some insight on this, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So after In the Stairwell, we saw magician Will Tsai. What were you feeling?
I had high hopes for Will Tsai. I was really looking forward to him. I loved his audition with the illusion of the card tricks. I thought he did fairly well in this. Now, the judges apparently didn't seem to get it. I think even Seal, and we haven't talked about Seal yet, Seal said, or maybe it was Mel B, said that they couldn't see it from where they were.
Yeah, I guess they didn't have that screen like they did in the auditions.
Right, so maybe it came through better on television than it did there in the performance hall, because I actually enjoyed it. I liked the eye trick. the fish showing up, and he also tells a real good story at the beginning. He kind of leads into his trick. He doesn't just start and we're wondering what he's doing. He kind of gives us a little bit of background and where we're going to go from there. So I had high hopes for Will.
Yeah. I was pretty excited for this one too. I thought it was weird, but it was fine. I do think it was kind of a step backward, like Simon said. There wasn't much new.
Okay, it's fair.
Yeah. So unless you have anything more on Will, our next magician was Henry Richardson.
Yeah, and that's another magician that I really enjoyed the first time around as well. Now he did some card tricks, and I mentioned this. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but one of the magicians picked the card out for the judge and then had him sign it. Whereas Henry, in my opinion, the first rule of card tricks is you let the audience pick the card, not yourself. So he passed on that. And then he kind of did a John Dorenbos from last season, where he said, "Wouldn't it be cool if I could do this?" And then he wasn't able to do it, and then he kind of played it off of, "Yeah, that would actually be cool, but I didn't do that." So I really liked what Henry did. I liked the card trick.
Yeah, that upset me a lot too when he said that. It's just every time another one does it, it's harder to believe. But
they play it off really well. It's not like they just fumble through it. They play it off like I expected that to happen, which I think is a good part of being a magician, is knowing that if you messed up on something that you can recover and move on to something else. And John Dornbos did that several times.
Yeah, the act as a whole was honestly quite impressive. I did actually like this. It was kind of a little bit more advanced than what we've been seeing, I think.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the ones I wish they'd bring back. I was a little upset that he didn't get to go through.
Yeah, me too. Elena and Sasha did their first dance for all of us, and I thought it was a pretty awesome first dance. What about you?
Yeah, I love her. I think she's great. She's funny, and this is one of my big pet peeves, or not pet peeves, but this is one of the things that's kind of bothered me a little bit this season is, she climbed to the top of this pole to do this trick, but then she got tethered off to a cable. And I think that just loses some of the danger for me.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know if they have to be on that cable?
I don't think so, because we've seen other acts. I don't think Bello Knock had to do the cable when he auditioned, when he went to the top of his pole. I don't think he did. We did have another one later on that also got tied off when he got to the top. Now, she tied herself off. She pretty much was on the cable when she left the ground. And she did it in auditions as well. So it just feels like it loses some of the danger, because I think part of that danger is, and I know we don't want people to get hurt. Obviously we don't want people to get hurt. But I think that adds to some of the dangers, knowing or thinking someone could fall.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, I agree. So that kind of sucks, but their act I thought wasn't bad.
No, it was okay. She did kind of do a Sophie Dossie thing and contortion at the top of her pole, and then shoot an arrow with her feet through a balloon.
Mm-hmm. So after that, we saw Lost Legends, which I thought was meh.
Yeah, I don't even remember seeing them in auditions. This is another montage. This is like I think there was like 3 acts in a row here that were montage. So I'm like, well, there's no sense in watching them.
Mm-hmm. We saw Nick Uhas, who seemed fun. We didn't see much.
Nope, and he got cut off by Simon at the very beginning.
Yeah. And then following that was Veronica Gonzalez. I liked how she wrote censorship on the sign.
Yeah, again, I wasn't even paying attention because I knew it was montaged. And they were also doing kind of a montage of Simon in a bad mood.
Yeah.
So I think after Lost Legends and Nick Uhas, I didn't even watch her performance.
Yeah, I think Simon said something like, "Oh, that was terrible," and she's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But this seemed pretty bad. But then we got Circus Alphon. What did you think of this?
Now, I didn't like them in their auditions. I mentioned in auditions that they kind of do projection work, but in their audition, they laid down on the floor, and then their performance was projected up on the TV, and there was a slight delay, so it was really throwing me off that there was like this half second delay between what they do and what's shown up there. And I thought they were going to do the same thing this time, but they didn't. And I really liked what they did this time, and I did not expect it at all.
Yeah, so you're a Simon on this one, I guess.
Yeah, it really turned me around on what they did this time around.
Yeah, I really liked them the first time, so it was so surprising to see them do something else. I really thought they were gonna stick to what they did the first time. It seemed like a pretty solid act to me, but they totally took it in another direction. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, and it really now opens things up that now that we know that they can do other stuff, now I'm looking forward to what they're going to do.
Yeah. So they start out with like this this intro of getting people like play along with them and like mime instruments. Which, like, not knowing what that is, it seems like such a like a risky move. It seemed like it's kind of a waste of time, but it totally paid off. I thought this was super, super neat. I don't know if it was like the funniest thing ever, but just the sheer creativity of doing this is awesome to me. So I was really happy with this, and I was excited to see more from Circus Alphon.
Yeah, I wasn't super excited to see them this time because I thought they were going to do the same thing last time. I'm glad they did something different. Also, I'm wondering, are they really Eastern European or are they faking Eastern European? Because they're really kind of doing heavy on the Eastern European stereotypes of just the accent and the way they kind of act and the way they're talking. It almost feels like they're faking it. But so I can't tell if they are faking it or if they really are Eastern European.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Danelle Damon and Greater Works was on the stage next. It started off with this story about one of the people in this group about her husband having like a 5% chance to live. And then we got to hear her husband on the phone, which I thought was really nice. It was kind of a cool moment how they set that up. So that was kind of interesting. But they started their song and they did Ain't No Mountain High Enough, which I thought was not a very good choice because it seems, I don't know, like it's the choir song. Like, to just do another song.
No, I think they did pick the right song. I like this song. You're right. It is the typical choir, especially gospel choir type song. It's safe, but they also did an excellent job at it. They brought out 2 new soloists, so we know that they're kind of diverse in their soloists. It's not just the one lady. They can bring out other people as well to be soloists. Simon mentioned that he doesn't know why choirs of this size don't do well, but didn't we have a gospel choir? Was it last year or was it when we watched our season 8 that there was the gospel choir that did pretty well?
I think that was season 8.
Okay, so apparently he didn't watch anything before the time he came on because there have been a couple of gospel choirs that have done fairly well. Obviously, they haven't won. I don't think they've even gotten to the top 5, but they've done pretty well. It's really hard logistically to do a choir of this size, but when it's done right, it's done really well.
Yeah, so you did like this?
Oh, I loved this. This was great. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never really got into it. I thought this was super boring, but I'm glad you liked it. Pompeo Family Dogs were up next. I guess I'm just not into dog acts because I thought this one was super boring as well.
Uh, I thought it was okay. In their package, though, and I may show this to my wife, they had dogs up on their kitchen counters, which I think is completely gross. Anyway, not having anything to do with their act. I did like the Western theme. I do have an issue that if they're such good trainers, why can't they get their dogs to behave while they're sitting there waiting, while they're talking to the judges? As far as the performance itself, I thought it was okay. I thought them, as well as Sarah and Hero, were about the same. Now, they have more dogs, so they can do more types of tricks, but I think I relate more with Sarah and Hero because I know who Hero is. Hero is the performer, whereas I don't know who any of these dogs are. If they're going to be part of the act, then I feel I need to know the dogs themselves and not just the family.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. That's probably going to give Sarah and Hero the edge on this one. But just watching this, I maybe they're the best dog act ever, but I don't really know.
No, right now Olate Dogs is the best dog act ever, but
Yeah, so that's Pompeo Family Dogs. Also, I think AGT needs to stop using the song "You're My Best Friend" after dog acts because I feel like they've done it like 5 times already.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. So anyway, after that we saw Johnny Manuel. The Golden Buzzer singer. I don't know the song that he did, so I can't really speak to what Simon said, but I thought he definitely sounded better on the other song.
Okay, so I'm going to say that this is a Golden Buzzer with an asterisk because he got a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get the Golden Buzzer on the song that he actually performed. He got the Golden Buzzer on the song that he performed second, which was actually his audition song.
Yeah, this was not a great Golden Buzzer moment. It all felt very wrong and weird and dry. It didn't feel right. I think Catchy was the clear Golden Buzzer moment this episode, but I think Seal kind of hit it too early. It did not feel right.
No, it didn't feel right, and he would not have hit it if he had not sung the second song. I don't think we've ever seen anyone get a second chance at this point. Now, we've seen him get second chances a couple of times in auditions, and that's it. But anything past auditions, no other act gets a second chance. Will Tsai doesn't get a second chance to perform his magic. Who else? Who else was like Nick Uhas, Lost Legends? They don't get a second chance. So it feels wrong that this happened. I did not like that this happened. It shouldn't have happened. I hope it never happens again. It probably will. But it just seems like he just got it the wrong way. And you're right. Catchy should have been the Golden Buzzer in this episode.
Yeah, I think Simon does sort of consider this like a second audition round, but I mean, you're right. Nobody else gets those kinds of chances, so it's going to be an interesting road ahead for Johnny. He might have a tough time, but I don't know. Maybe he'll start doing the right songs.
Yeah. Now, I like Johnny. I think he did a really good job, but if they're going to say they didn't like it, they've got to let it go with that. They can't give him another chance. Now, moving kind of a side note, you talked about, since this is the Golden Buzzer, I just got to put in here that this did not fall in my average of where the Golden Buzzers typically fall in. So this fell outside of the range of that I talked last week of it should be somewhere in the 9, 10, 11 range. This was at performance 13 of the night, so it kind of brought up that average. He was outside of kind of what I would consider the norm. So it was a little off. So if I went with my average, then it should have been either Circus for Alphon or Greater Works. But
yeah, Seal was checking his watch, looking for an act to buzz, I guess.
Yes. So just wanted to kind of throw out my an update on my stats there for the Golden Buzzer.
Yeah. I think something like this, with the second chance and everything, probably would have fit okay in like Vegas week, but it does feel weird to see it on this stage like this.
Yeah, agreed.
So after that, we saw Maria Papazov, and this act made me wonder if they were putting the better one last again.
You mean as far as the husband wife?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she could have done better. I kind of agreed with Simon. I mean, it was kind of cool seeing her in the ball, but it didn't feel like it was anything spectacular. It didn't feel dangerous. It just seemed very average.
Yeah. So I think Maxim was better than this. I think his was pretty rad. Simon was a bit rude, but I think Maxim did pretty well.
Yeah, Maxim did a good job, and he actually brought it closer to the judges. He didn't do his chair stacking or chair climbing, chair balancing on the stage. He did it directly in front of the judges this time.
Yeah, it could have fallen right on top of him.
Could have fallen, and I think even Howie was afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice, when he got to the top of his chairs, then he put a cable on. So he was fine as he was ascending, and then when he got to the top, he attached himself to a cable.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
So after that, we saw German Cornejo Dance Company.
Sounds right to me.
So they're doomed.
Yeah, abbreviated.
And the same with the Honey Beezy Plus afterwards.
And I'm glad for that.
Yeah. Americana was after that. Still not feeling good about this one. Thought it was pretty bad.
I don't get it. He tells a story through song, and he dances. He does pop and lock robot dances, and he's not good at it. He, you know, I don't want to attack a 10-year-old kid. I mean, that's bad. I don't want to do that. But he's doing this performance like a 10-year-old kid should do it. It's not very sharp. It's not very poppy, and it's not very locky. It still seems very loose. It's a lot of people seem to really, really like this. So we must be in the minority that just don't get it.
Yeah, I pretty much agree completely with what you said. I think people can do this style of dancing much better. So I'm not too thrilled by Merrick. But closing out the night, we saw Ketchy, who I do think felt like a golden buzzer moment the way AGT typically presents them, but this performance was boring to me as well.
So you're saying she should have been the golden buzzer, but you're saying it wasn't very good.
Like yeah, I guess so. I mean, she wouldn't have been my golden buzzer, but like, seeing Seal like go onto the stage and hug her, it's like, okay, well, you didn't press the golden buzzer for her. You're supposed to do that before you go hug her on stage. The moment just felt wrong, but I don't know. I think everyone involved probably would have been happier if it had gone to Ketchy, but I don't know.
No, I mean, I thought she did a fine job. It ended the night well. I'm not sure if there was anything else that would have ended the night as well as she ended the night. Again, looking back, these were very. I think I had high hopes for all of the acts in this show, and then it let me down. And I think that's maybe what I was trying to get at the beginning of my rating was, I gave it an A- initially because I had such high hopes, and I was on such a high from watching it. But then everyone was just really mediocre or above.
Yeah, it's a shame. Also of note, Brandon Rogers was edited out of this episode, but it seems like he competed this round and then went home. So I would imagine that's why they edited him out, because he went home. But yeah, interesting tidbit there, I guess.
Yeah, and after discovering that, because I only had 19 listed in that, and then I had to go and double check that, and then I saw that he was actually the 20th one. Um, so I'm curious how they kind of. I mean, I don't know if he was part of the results or what, and how they kind of edited it out. But I thought that was really interesting that he was part of this episode, um, and they kept mentioning 20 acts, but then they edited him out.
Right. Yeah. They. I mean, just watching that, I did not notice. I heard about it later. So, the AGT editors, they do good work, I guess. But, yeah. I don't know. It's still a time to remember Brandon Rogers, I guess. 'Cause I sure wish he was still around.
I agree for more than one reason.
Yeah. So then we got to the results. Nick Uhas went home. Bye, Nick. That was kind of. I was looking forward to more from him, but I think that was sort of telegraphed early on.
Yeah, side note on Nick Uhas, he went home in the second week of Big Brother, and he goes home in the second round of AGT. So
That's cool. I forgot he was on Big Brother. They were using the song "Glory" again for this, which I've talked about before. It's getting to be a little much at this point.
hey, they only have licensing for so many songs, so
Yeah, I guess so. Um, so this part is where I really started getting mad at these results. I really do think Circus How Fun was robbed here, and
yes.
I don't use that term "robbed" a lot because I think it's a hard argument to make once you get out of judges' cuts and America actually starts voting. But I think they might have done some pretty awesome things given the chance for America to have their say.
Oh yeah, and they would definitely do more stuff, more creative stuff than the dogs.
Yeah, and also I was surprised the judges seriously couldn't take Henry the magician because I thought he was pretty good. I don't know that anybody really had a problem with him this time. I thought he was one of the better variety acts. So, yeah, this episode really made me mad about that.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather Henry have gone through than maybe. I would probably even put him through over Merrick.
Mm-hmm.
Or
me too.
Or Arteon and Paige.
Yeah, this episode just makes me feel bad about where the season is going. I think it's 100% the judges' fault that variety is weak this season.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, well, it's all been judges up to this point. America hasn't even had the chance to vote yet, so the judges have done all the picks at this point.
Yeah. So that's all I had to say on the results, I guess. Did you have anything else?
No, just that now that we have all of our acts, 18 of the 33 acts, 'cause that's what we have now. We still have 3 wild card spots, but 18 of the 33 acts sent through to the live shows are some sort of singing act. And that includes like the Dancing Trump and Mirror Image, things like that are maybe combination type acts that are singing and dancing, or Darcy Lynn that does ventriloquist. So if they sing in their act, that's kind of what I'm grouping them all in. So over 50% at this point are singers, and unless they put 3 non-singers through as wild cards, that would, if they put, well, let me back that up. If they put 3 non-singers through as wild cards, that would bring it up to exactly 50%.
Okay, interesting. I definitely do have more to say on this whole topic of singers and non-singers and how things are looking for the road ahead that I think will tie into a question we got this week. But first, the show ended with no promo of next week that I saw on TV, although I think we do have the list of who's performing. So you want to preview that before we get to the email, or?
Yeah, let's preview that. They probably didn't give a preview of next season or next week yet because right this moment, 8 o'clock Eastern time, they're doing kind of a recap of Judge Cuts. I think they're calling it like Road to the Live shows. So they'll probably do a thing at the end of that to talk about next week.
Yeah, that's true. So what we know at the moment is Angelica Hale, Artion and Page, Billy and Emily England, Christian Gardino, Darcy Lynn Farmer, In the Stairwell, Just Jerk, Preacher Lawson, Puddle's Pity Party, The Singing Trump, and Yoli Mayer. So this sounds like a pretty interesting lineup to me.
Yeah, I mean it could have been better, but as far as the singers, that's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah, there's only a couple of these where I'm like, well, I'm not super interested in seeing what they're going to do again, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. Just Jerk, I'm very excited to see again. And we're finally going to get to see some Golden Buzzers.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long time since they've done anything, but as we've seen last season, Golden Buzzers still do pretty good, even though they have only performed in front of an audience one time.
Yeah. So that should sort of take us into some questions we got. This week we got an email from Tyler from Kentucky, who says, "Hello, Cody and Cody. I'm a big AGT fan and have been listening to your podcast since episode 2. I always enjoy hearing your all's thoughts about the show. I appreciate that you give consideration to each act and give your honest opinions without being overly critical. The two of you complement each other very well, and I like that you don't agree about every act. The best part of AGT is that there's truly something for everyone. What do you guys think about most of the Golden Buzzers going to young singers this season? Do you think it is inevitable that the finals will be mostly made up of singers, or is it possible that having so many of them in the live shows means they will be competing for votes, giving variety acts a better chance? Also, which acts are you most looking forward to seeing perform live? Mine are Darcy Lynn Farmer, Diavolo, and the Singing Trump. Do you think that either Oscar and Gasper, video mapping act, or Incatitio, indoor skydiver, will be put straight through to the live shows without having to compete in the judges' cuts like Silas Feta was last year? Both of their auditions were incredible, and it would be a shame if we didn't see either of them perform again. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Keep up the great work on the podcast." Thank you, Tyler. It's thanks for the kind words. It's nice to hear things like that from our listeners. So thanks. As for most of the Golden Buzzers being young singers, at this point, the Golden Buzzer usually doesn't excite me because it tends to be kind of the same. But for this season, for the first time ever, my favorite act of the season has gotten a Golden Buzzer, which is Light Balance. So that's kind of what I'm focused on this time. I truly believe this is a strong year for singers. Most of the singers that are in the live shows, I think, deserve to be there. Unfortunately, the non-singer lineup looks pretty weak, and I think that can be attributed to the judges making the wrong calls. I think they're just taking the wrong variety acts. So, yes, I do think the finals will be made up mostly of singers.
Yeah, I want to tend to agree with you. There may be one or two acts of the variety acts that might get into the finals. I think that you're correct. It's going to be mostly singers that are going to be in the finals. I would think that maybe you may not agree with me on this, but Singing Trump probably has a pretty good chance of getting into the finals.
I absolutely agree with you on
from
that.
the variety act. Light Balance has, but we've seen acts similar to Light Balance in the past, and they've done well. If Preacher Lawson can kind of do well on his comedy, I think he probably has a good chance of getting into the finals. But I'm with you that it's probably going to be mostly singers. You've pretty much summed it up as everything that we blame the judges for kind of the way it's been balanced out this year, with half the acts being singing and half being everything else when, in my opinion, it should probably be 1/3 singing and 2/3 everything else. We're very limited on the number of magicians that we have. I want more magicians. I want more comedians. I love danger type acts. I love like Colin Cloud, who's more of a mentalist. That's another one that probably has a good chance of getting into the finals, just like the Clairvoyants did last year. So I hope that answered your question, Tyler. Kind of rambling here, but that's pretty much. I mean, Cody Mims pretty much summed up everything, and I'm just adding on to it.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have a problem with it being half singers. I think the ones we picked up in auditions, like the singers were genuinely very strong. There's a lot that I like, and I'm usually not very excited about the singers, but there's not a lot of acts that I think people are gravitating towards as standout favorites variety wise. So I don't know, but I think the judges have just sort of cut out everything that people might want to go towards and vote for, but we'll see how it goes.
And I don't think it's the judges as a whole. I think there's one particular judge that's probably doing this more than the other three.
Who's that?
And his name is he owns Psycho Productions, so we'll kind of leave it at that.
Yeah. Which acts are you most looking forward to seeing perform live? Mine are Light Balance and Just Jerk.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to just Jerk as much. I'm probably looking forward more to like Colin Cloud, Diavolo. I would love to see what they're going to bring out on stage to perform on. Light Balance as well. Preacher Lawson. I love comedians. I want to see more magicians. So I wish we had more magicians in this. As far as singers, I'm not as big on the singers, but I want to see more like Puddles, Singing Trump, Greater Works, and Darcy Lynn. I'm kind of interested to see what she's going to do with the ventriloquism.
Yeah. So for the last question, do we think Oscar and Gaspar or Inca Tito are going to come back? Silas Vettel was actually approached by NBC about being on America's Got Talent, so I think that might be sort of a special case when it comes to them being brought back. But I think it could possibly happen. They might fit nicely into those 3 slots. And I think those are good choices for who they would pick for that. I think if they're going to pull from that group, it's probably going to be Oscar and Gaspar and Inca Tito.
I'm actually going to go on the other end with you, and I'm going to disagree. I don't think that they're going to bring either one of them back. I'm fascinated by the Inca Tito thing, because when I saw her, we haven't talked about her at all, but when I saw her in auditions in I guess that was audition 6, the one we didn't really cover, I was fascinated to know, well, how are they going to do the wind tunnel, and where were they when she did her audition? And I think I read that she was actually at like a wind tunnel facility there near L.A. So then then I was wondering, okay, well, when she goes to Judge Cuts, are they going to do that again? Is she going to do it somewhere off site, or are they going to bring a wind tunnel into the stage? Say she moves on to the live shows, are they going to continue to do it at a wind tunnel facility somewhere else? So I have those type questions that I need answered. I'm just real fascinated by how this is going to work, because I mean, apparently she's real famous. I don't know anything about her, and I didn't even know. I knew indoor skydiving was a thing. I didn't know that it was like a competition type thing. It makes sense now that I hear it and I've read about it. I just didn't know it was actually a thing. So I'm fascinated by this. I'm curious, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to bring her into the live shows.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with that. We also got a question on Twitter from Trent Williams, who says there are 3 spots left for wild cards as only 33 advance after Judge Cuts and Golden Buzzers. Who do you want those 3 wild card acts to be? And my picks for that would be Tony and Jordan, Darcy Callis, and Circus Alphon.
Yeah, I would agree with the Circus Alphon now. I wouldn't have after audition, just because I thought it was really weird. But I really enjoyed their their Judge Cuts performance. I would probably Tony and Jordan's probably a good pick. I would like to have seen more of like the Godfathers. I think they probably would have had something pretty interesting. I really like the Azari brothers. I don't think that they're going to Azari brothers or Tolga. I would like to see one of those. I know I'm probably listing off more than just 3, but these are just some that I would like to have seen.
Yeah, I was thinking about Tolga too.
Yeah, because that's, again, just different types of variety acts. I don't think they're going to bring either one of those back, but those are a couple that I would like to have seen. Let's see. I don't want to see like Dancing Pumpkin Man again. Let's see. Oh, Usain. I probably would like to have seen him again. Darcy. I mean, that's another singer, so I'm not sure if I'd want to see him again or not. But that's probably a few. I hope that answered your question. Yeah, Tony and Jordan, because I really loved their audition. I wish I could have seen more of their judge cut. So I know that's more than just 3, but that's probably 5 or 6 that I listed off there. But those are some that I'd like to see come through into judge cuts, into the live shows.
Yeah, so thanks for writing to us, guys. If you out there, listener, want to do that, you can tweet us at AGTtime, or you can contact us at agtcast.com or agtcast@gmail.com. And be sure to keep an ear out for our draft episode very soon, because we're going to get pretty deep into all of our predictions for this season. So it's going to be a blast.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to do this. We've been putting it together for several days. We've got all of our acts broken out, and we're going to go through and we're going to pick some acts that we think might win.
Yeah. So we will see you then soon, and before you know it, we'll be in the live shows. So thank you for joining us through Judges Cuts, and we'll see you very soon.
Have a good night.